Hey, hey! Welcome to Generation Rise, the podcast with Marcus Bell. Thank you so much for coming in and checking me out today, Rise family. Listen, over the last few sessions, the last few podcasts, we've been in a little bit of a series. It started in the takeover where I introduced the 4 Ps: prepare, position, prove, and propel. Then I followed that up with my patience podcast where I discuss patience and how it is woven into each part of the 4 Ps. In my last podcast, I discussed pain and perseverance, how you have to embrace the pain and persevere through it to get to your greatness. So for my next installment of the series, I'm going to start with the question. And the question that I want to pose to my Rise family is, what is the difference between an opportunity and something that is an opposition? What's the difference between an opportunity and opposition? So let me throw out a few scenarios to my Rise family. You're an athlete and you've been playing quarterback your whole life, or point guard, or whatever position you've been playing your whole life, and then a coach comes in and the coach asks you to play a different position. Is that an opportunity or is that opposition? You get injured or you get benched for another player. Opportunity or opposition? You're not getting recruited or offered in the way that you wanted to be. So instead of getting D1 recruits, you're getting D3. Opportunity, opposition. COVID, the coronavirus. Is this time that we're in right now with the pandemic, is that an opportunity or is that an opposition from getting to where you want to go? Coming from a broken home or growing up in poverty or coming up in some adverse situation, something that didn't really put you in the best standing, is that an opportunity or an opposition? The price that you have to pay to get to your goal or to get to your dream. So I ask again, within these few scenarios, and there are a ton more that I could throw out there, but what is the difference in these scenarios between an opportunity or an opposition? So I was listening to a T.D. Jakes sermon, as I do sometimes, and he said the difference between opportunity and opposition is all about one word: perspective. So that's the next installment in this little series that we're in, where we got P's all over the place, is perspective. It is your perspective that will determine whether you view a situation or a circumstance as an opportunity or an opposition. If you look through things through the right lens, and that's what perspective is how you view something that you're going through. It's about the lens that you look at it. If you look at just about anything through the right lens, then you can likely find opportunity in any situation. So I threw out a few scenarios. So you get asked to play a different position. For a lot of athletes, that is absolutely opposition from getting to where you want to go. However, if you look at it through the right perspective, that's an opportunity. Because as a coach myself, one thing that I want to see is guys that can play multiple positions. A guy that is a team first guy that is willing to sacrifice his own personal wants and needs for the sake of the team. Beyond that, if you show that you can play multiple positions in high school, guess what a college coach is going to see? College coach will see tape on you playing over here, tape on you playing over there. A college coach is going to see that I have a versatile athlete that if I ask him to do this or that, that person will be able to step up to the plate. That person adds value to my program. If you get hurt or you get injured or you get benched, are you going to sit there and think that's an opposition and you're going to sulk about it and feel bad for yourself and want everybody to throw you a pity party? Or are you going to take that as an opportunity to get better, to get stronger, to come back bigger, better, stronger than you ever had before? Are you going to take that as an opportunity to work harder? Opportunity or opposition? Both of them in one respect is true. Yes, you get hurt, that is an opposition. But if you make the choice to view it as an opportunity to get better, I can guarantee it'll be better for you in the long run. You're not getting recruited like you want to, so you got a D3 offer. Are you going to turn that D3 offer down or that D2 offer down because you want to go to a D1 school? At this point in the game, guys can be found anywhere. A college coach or an NFL coach can find you anywhere, no matter where you are. With the technology that's out there right now, if you are killing it, coaches will find you. So there is opportunity in playing at lower levels, even if your dream is to play at the highest of highest levels. People have come from lower levels and then made it to their ultimate goal. Think of guys like, you guys probably don't know him, but Marcus Colston went to Hofstra for college. Pierre Garçon went to a very small school. There are lots of guys that go to small schools. Steph Curry went to Davidson and is one of the best players in the NBA right now. Damian Lillard went to Weber State. Like, there are so many guys that come from very small programs and are able to make it to their ultimate goal, to make it to their ultimate destination. So make sure we are all looking at whatever things that we're facing through the right lens, through the right perspective. Find the opportunity in anything that you're going through. COVID, the coronavirus, everything has been shut down for months and months and months. And yes, that is opposition. But at the same time, think about some of the things that the coronavirus has done. Like, it has brought families together. Families are spending more and more time together. It is bringing families together. It has made everybody slow down a little bit and evaluate their lives. It has given our earth some time to heal without everybody being on the roads and stuff like that. I don't know if my Rise family paid attention, but there were images from when the coronavirus had first started and the things had shut down and there were no cars on the road. And then you saw these clear skies that we haven't seen in years and years because of the smog wasn't being emitted into the atmosphere like it was on a daily basis. We got views that we hadn't seen in years because of the coronavirus, because of things being shut down. So there is opportunity to continue to get better even as things are shut down. Are you taking the coronavirus as an opportunity to work out on your own, to get better on your own, to find out how to evaluate yourself, what you truly are, what you truly want to do? There is opportunity in anything that you're going through. Now, the price that you have to pay, I threw that scenario out there. The price that you have to pay. Let me dig into that. So the first thing that everybody has to realize is that everything has a cost. Everything has a cost. Whatever it is that you want. You want to buy a car, you have to pay for it. You want to play in the NFL or the NBA or the WNBA, or you want to play with the women's national soccer team. That has a cost to do that. Now, what I want you to realize is that not every price is paid in a monetary or physical way. Okay, not every price is paid in a monetary or physical way. And not everybody's price for success or greatness is the same. So LeBron James's price is different than Tom Brady's price, which is different than Megan Rapinoe's price, which is different than Sue Bird's price, which is different than everybody else's price, which is different from Mark Zuckerberg or whoever, Bill Gates, you name the person. Everybody had to pay a different price for their success. Now, as you think about the price that you'll have to pay to be great or to be successful, some things you might expect. Like you might expect to be hated on. You might expect to be talked about. You might expect people not to believe in you. You might expect for people to think that you've lost your mind in what you're doing and how you're operating. You might expect that you lose some friends, miss some events, and have some growing pains along the way. However, what if I told you that the price for your greatness is that you were going to lose your home, or that you were going to lose all of your money, or that you were going to lose your status, that you were going to have to be stripped all the way down to your bare bones and then built back up again? What if I told you that the price for your greatness, the price for your purpose, your destiny, is that what you thought in your mind would be a 1 to 2 year process or plan will really take 5 to 10 years? Are you willing to go through that process and pay that price for the ultimate greatness that you want? The ultimate greatness that you have in you, the ultimate greatness and success that you're seeking. Because these are things that, as a personal testament, as an entrepreneur, as a person that jumped out the window to start his own business, I've kind of dealt with many of these things personally. And I can tell you, I am not positive that I would have jumped out the window to start my own business if I knew that certain things were going to transpire in the process of going after the greatness that I feel I have in me. So those are all things that can be viewed as opposition. However, the flip side of the prices that you have to pay and getting stripped down, losing everything, is that there is opportunity in it. What kind of opportunity, you say? So if you lose all your money, you learn how to live below your means. You learn how to manage money. The Bible says that if you are faithful over a little, then I will make you a ruler over much. So if you learn how to make $10, $20 stretch to last over time, then when you get money, when you get a large sum of money, then you will know how to make that stretch to work for you. You'll learn how to make the little bit of money stretch and grow and develop. And that's how you build wealth. I'm not talking about building riches. I'm talking about building wealth. And there is a difference there. If you lose everything, then you will learn patience. If your plan goes from 1 year to 10 years, you will learn to be patient in the process. You get stripped down, you have the opportunity to learn humility. You learn how to be compassionate. You learn not to judge others in their situations because you've been brought down from out of your situation. You learn different ways to fight. You have the opportunity to learn what things really hold value in your life. Not the material things, but the things that really are valuable to you. You learn to find your joy in the journey. These are all things that come with the price that you have to pay for your greatness, the price that you have to pay for your success. Yes, a lot of these things can be seen as opposition, but there is opportunity in there also. But you have to keep it all in perspective. You have to have the right perspective on your situation so that you can find the opportunity in what it is that you're going through and use those opportunity as your motivation to keep going after whatever it is that you have inside of you, to pull the greatness out of you, to pull the success out of you. What I can tell you is your greatest opportunities are often wrapped in your greatest opposition. The Bible says that the wheat grows with the tare. They come together. You cannot have the good without the bad. So that means that if you're going to be successful and push to be great, push to be successful, you're going to have haters. Embrace the haters because they're going to come. When you're doing great things or when you're doing the right things, people are not going to like it. There are some people that are just going to hate on you just because. Think about the NBA and the NFL superstars and things like that. LeBron James is a phenomenal player. But people still hate on him, find a reason to hate on him, find a reason to dislike him, because some people innately don't like greatness in other people because they cannot pull it out of themselves. You are going to have to take a risk to reach your greatest opportunities. There has to be risk involved to pull out your greatness. There has to be risk involved to be successful. Bill Gates dropped out of college before he started Microsoft. And he started Microsoft in a garage, of all places. You have to take risks to get to your greatness. You have to put yourself out there to go get your greatest things out of you. So I know many of my Rise family know about David and Goliath. You probably know it from sports references of the underdog and everything like that. But there is an actual Bible story of David versus Goliath. So to give you a brief overview of what David and Goliath was about is that Goliath was a giant. And Goliath was calling out, he was a Philistine, and he was calling out the Israel army, saying that nobody can beat me. I want somebody to come out here and face me one-on-one, and the loser, the army will bow down to the other people. And for, I think it was like 40 days, Goliath went out day and night calling out the army, send somebody out here to fight me. Send somebody out here to fight me. And the Israelite army would not send anybody out there. Everybody was scared. Nobody wanted to go out to face him. Even the king Saul would not go out to face this giant. So then David comes into play. David is a shepherd boy. David is not even in the army. David has 3 older brothers, and his dad tells him to go take bread and cheese and things, food, to his brothers on the army field. When he gets there, he hears Goliath calling out everybody, telling them to come out, fight him, and nobody will step up. So he says, well, what happens to the person that goes out there and defeats Goliath? And he gets told that if the person goes out and defeats Goliath, then they will get great wealth from the king. Then their family would be exempt from taxes from the king and the throne. And the king will also give him his daughter in marriage. So you can see that there is opposition. You got this great giant that's never been defeated. And then you have this, David was just a kid, a small guy, a shepherd boy that sees it as an opportunity to bring his family up. He sees it as an opportunity to bring his family up. No taxes. There's wealth there. I'm going to get a wife out of this whole deal. This is only going to benefit me if I go out there and defeat him. So David takes on the challenge. And the king tries to give him all of this armor, give him his armor and everything to go chase. He said, nope, I can't move with that. I don't want it. So he goes out and he gets 5 stones. And he uses one of the stones, he uses some cloth as a slingshot. And he goes out there to face Goliath, and he slings one of them rocks up there and hits Goliath right in the middle of the head. Goliath falls out on the ground. Then he goes and he takes Goliath's sword and cuts his head off. He has defeated the giant. Later on, David would go on to be king and everything like that. But he went out, he didn't see Goliath as an opposition. He saw it as an opportunity to better himself and better his family. But there was a risk involved in him going out to pull out his greatness, to pull out his success, to make his family proud and to bring his family up. There was a risk involved in that, and he took that risk, and that risk paid off with great dividends and great rewards. As I said, David would eventually go on to be king, would be one of the best warriors that the world has ever seen. And like I said, we've seen David Goliath talked about in sports context. You talk about NCAA March Madness when you got a 16 seed versus a 1 seed and things of that sort. But that is the root of the David and Goliath concept that is often talked about. It comes from a Bible story of David versus Goliath. David being a small shepherd boy going out and killing the giant that was in front of him, that everybody else was scared of. So to talk about perspective from a little bit of a different aspect, I want to bring up, I'm sure a lot of my a lot of my Rise family know about Facebook and the owner of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. Now, I know a lot of my Rise family prefer Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and everything like that. But Facebook is a huge platform, a huge social media platform, right? So I want you to think about this. Mark Zuckerberg was a 22-year-old CEO. And in 2006, he was offered $1 billion from a company called Yahoo to purchase his company. In 2006, Facebook had not even turned a profit of its company yet. It hadn't turned a profit yet. And a company offered a 22-year-old $1 billion to buy his company. What would you do? Because I'm pretty sure that a lot of people in Mark Zuckerberg's circle probably said, if you do not take this $1 billion offer, you are absolutely insane. You've lost your mind. $1 billion will set you and your family up for generations to come, undoubtedly. But if you take that $1 billion offer to sell your company, you lose control of it. So as a 22-year-old CEO, Mark Zuckerberg saw the opportunity to bet on himself and know his worth and know the worth of his company. So he turned down that $1 billion offer from Yahoo. He had to take a risk to turn down that money and to keep control of his company. But if you fast forward about 6 years, in 2012, Facebook did what's called an initial public offering, which means that people can buy stock and own shares of his company. During the IPO or initial public offering, his company, the Facebook company, was valued at $100 billion. $100 billion. So had he taken that offer in 2006 of $1 billion, yes, he would have been a very wealthy man, but he would have lost control of the thing that he created. But he waited 6 years and he still controls the company, and his company was valued at $100 billion, 100 times what he was offered in that. So you have to have the right perspective. Yes, there was opposition. Yes, there was things that he could have said, well, I can do this, this, and this with this $1 billion. But if you know your worth and you bet on yourself and you have the right perspective, then you can see the opportunity in what it is that stands before you, what you stand to gain out of your situation. The same thing can be said as we talk about the Black Lives Matter movement. The NBA players and NFL players like LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony and people like that were making political stands on the basketball court. So what do you do when there's civil unrest and things going on crazy around you, but you already have the money and the platform? Let's be clear about what these NBA players and sports and celebrities had at stake when they chose to support the Black Lives Matter movement and things like that. LeBron James and other athletes and entertainers, they had money to lose from game checks endorsements, potential business deals, and everything that may not have saw their stance as appropriate to be in line with their products and things like that. So they had money on the line to lose, which means they had a certain level of security on the line to lose. That's an opposition. They had a reputation that could be tarnished by which goes into money and things like that. They put their family at risk because, as you know, death threats are a real thing. And a lot of times when you move in a way that people don't want you to move, when they only see you in a certain light, you're only a basketball player, you're only a football player, you're only an athlete or an entertainer, you move out of that box, people don't get happy. And then they won't just attack you, they'll attack the people around you. So it put their families at risk. So these are all opposing factors that would say, shut up and dribble. However, let's think about the opportunity that presented itself when the NBA players chose to take a stand for social justice. What was gained? Well, number one, these athletes, a lot of them have sons and daughters. They were able to show their sons and daughters that they can stand up for a cause despite what's on the line financially, despite what's on the line business-wise. There is value in showing your sons and daughters and showing a whole generation of people that you can stand up for what you believe in, what you believe is right, no matter what other things may be at risk at the same time. A generation of kids got to look up at these players and see that they value other people before themselves or just as much as themselves. They got to show a whole generation of people that they have voices and that their voices are valuable beyond just what it is that they do. Beyond basketball, beyond football, beyond whatever it is that they do, that they have a voice and their voice can be heard. And they likely empowered a lot of young athletes and the young people to voice their own, to use their own voice. They got to show leadership. They got to show a brotherhood. They got to show love for others. They got to show that sometimes you have to take a risk. Sometimes you have to risk it all to help somebody else that can't help themselves. They got to show unity. This is what the Bible means by love thy neighbor. You have to love other people. You have to lift other people. When you have a platform and you have the resources, you can use those resources to help other people at the same time. So yes, there is a risk for standing up what you believe in, but you have to take a risk sometimes to be able to make a change. So sometimes all you have to do is just keep it all in perspective. Nas had a line in one of his songs. So let's keep it all in perspective. Keep it all in the proper perspective. Not the perspective of opposition, but the perspective of opportunity. I've said it before. There is nothing that you can be brought to that you cannot be brought through. It does not matter how big it is, how hard it is, how massive it may seem, but you can overcome whatever it is that is placed in front of you. Keep whatever it is that you are doing, whatever it is that you're going through, keep pushing forward and keep it all in the proper perspective. Your opposition, your opportunity, keep it in perspective because it's all a part of your journey to prepare you, to position you, and so that it will give you the opportunity to prove and propel you forward to whatever it is that you're going through. You have to go through some things to speak to it sometimes. There is always an opportunity for growth. There is always an opportunity for discovery. There is always an opportunity for connection. You just have to keep it all in perspective. Keep it in the right perspective. So the real difference between an opportunity and an opposition is the perspective by which you look at it through. Listen, Rise family, thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope and I pray that this message reaches you well, that you guys are taking care of yourselves, and that you guys will keep it all in perspective. Keep it in the right perspective to keep you moving forward. Listen, I appreciate all of your feedback and your thoughts and ideas. So continue to reach out to me. You can reach out to me at my email at bell.riseent@gmail.com, on Twitter at RiseENT1, Instagram, The Rise Generation, YouTube, Generation Rise. You can also check out my company website, therisegeneration.org. This podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of your other favorite podcast hosts. Like, share, subscribe, send it to your friends, send it to your family. Thank you, Rise family, so much for being here with me and checking me out. Thank you. God bless you, family. God bless you. I love you. Now go be great.